Pizza guys of Reddit, what's the strangest thing you've seen when delivering pizzas? I deliver for DoorDash and Grubhub, sometimes pizzas. One time I picked up an order from each app, same exact order, from the same restaurant, both named James, to the same hotel. When I knocked on the door, two guys were there and asked me which was I, DoorDash or Grubhub. I told them I was both and have both orders. They started to laugh really hard. When I asked what was so funny, they told me they had a bet on which one would come first. They thought it was going to be two different drivers and never thought one person would be using both apps. I laughed too and asked them which one was James. They told me they are both named James. I still wonder what other funny things those two guys try come up with. One time I, a retired Pizza Hut driver, and a Papa John's driver were at an apartment at the same time. We both start walking up the stairs. After the third flight I asked her, "Are you going to 308? We had a good laugh knowing we were going to the same place at the same time. The ladies at the apartment laughed pretty good when we were both standing there when they opened the door. One of the funniest moments I had while delivering. Customer paid with a card and he had instructions to leave the pizza on a bench in a public area. Drop it off and quickly leave the area. I left but pulled on a side street where I could see the bench. I wait probably close to 5 minutes and then I see a man bust out of a dilapidated building I thought was empty. He runs up and grabs the pizza, he spins a whole 360 degrees and he is glancing in every direction as if he was afraid he was being watched. Then he hurries back to the place and when he gets to the door he sees me and his eyes get huge and wide, paranoid and fearful. He slammed the door shut. I just think he was tweaking or something wouldn't be out of the ordinary around here. That's me eating pizza while on a diet. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Was delivering to a hotel, had a guy pass out on me 3 separate times in a 10-minute encounter. Apparently he was narcoleptic, but it still scared the crap out of me. Narcoleptic here. He was probably having a cataplexy attack. We don't actually pass out, we're still conscious, but we lose control over our muscles, so we look passed out. There's also the scenario where it's only partial, then it looks like a seizure because we try to move only to cause spasms. It's triggered by emotion, so he probably got nervous or something. He was too excited for the pizza. I delivered to a hotel in the middle of a local golf course. Called the number to let them know I was there and was told to come on up. Get to the room and when the guy answered, there was a large group of guys, all in golf attire, surrounding a single guy in a chair. He was bound and blindfolded. The one that answered didn't even bat an eye, just asked how much and tipped me $30 bucks. Warily I took the money and walked away, but before the door was fully closed, I heard one on the guys ask, "I wonder if he knows this is A." Before I even left the parking lot, the guy that answered the door called me to say that the bound guy was his brother and he was bound and blindfolded because it's his bachelor party and the stripper was waiting to come out. I just showed up way earlier than they thought I would. I like how you minded your business and took the money like a true professional. Figured the bound guy seemed to be happy, so it wasn't my place to say anything. Some dude opened the apartment door completely naked. I was stunned, but what came after that made me ask myself, is he some kind of fucking magician? He put a hand behind his back and pulled a wallet. Only reasonable explanation I could give myself was that he tucked the wallet between his butt cheeks. Quite the power move TBH. Establishing dominance is key. The only way out of this is to pee on the pizza. Nice. I was delivering a pizza to this house in a pretty rough neighborhood. These 3 cholos answered the door, and when the one guy stepped back to get the money, I noticed huge amounts of money and so much meth and enough weed to kill Snoop Dogg and around 20 guns. I was so scared. He gave me a tip of $20 cash and told me not to tell anyone. Hopefully they aren't Redditors. Hey, you just snitched on me, you fucked up. Username checks out. Don't worry pal, I got this one. Just simply coming up and there were 3 guys in underwear waiting for me. Handing the pizzas over and more just start coming out in underwear, and these were also wearing cowboy hats and native headdresses, some kind of bro Halloween party or something. Got to grab my tip out of the dude's bra. It was funny as hell, but when I left the building I had to process for a moment what the hell happened. Probably just a casting call for the new Village People reboot. Yo man. There's no need to feel down. Seriously, when is Hollywood going to give us a Village People biopic? I had 2 teenage girls open the door in their underwear, as a joke I guess. They were probably 16 or something. They think it's funny, but I had to report it to my manager and hope nothing came of it. I was like 20 at the time. Something similar happened to me recently, except with a younger girl. This lesbian couple lives in my apartment complex with a 12-year-old. They'd often leave her home alone, and she'd come knocking on my door asking to use my cell phone to call them. Apparently, they didn't trust her with a cell phone, and they didn't trust her with access to the Wi-Fi when they weren't home. It was annoying, but I didn't think much of it until one night she showed up wearing a bathrobe. She wasn't locked out, so it didn't make sense for her to not put on clothes to come knock. She came back like 3 times that night. The last time her robe kind of came open, she wasn't wearing a bra, and she didn't really try to fix it. After that I didn't answer the door for her anymore. I asked a female friend to come over the next night to answer the door for me. She told her that we wouldn't be letting her use our phones anymore until her parents came and told us that's what they wanted. She offered to ask them for her. The girl never came back to my door again after that. I have no idea what the fuck was going on or who she was calling on my phone, but I was paranoid Chris Hansen would be coming to visit me any day. Some guy ordered a large pep pizza. When I got to the house he wasn't there, so I called him out. He told me he was in the bathroom taking a shit, and I had to wait 18-ish minutes to get my pay. Shooter taxed him a slice or 2 for the wait. LOL, I wouldn't even be mad if he really waited 18 mins for me to answer the door. Only fair. Check to see if the door is open. Go take his television in lieu of payment. Just the other day showed up to a house to be greeted by two guys, about 25, on the roof in underwear, clearly ecstatic about the pizza being delivered. Did you Walter White the pizza up there? LOL, sounds like the crew from Workaholics. He's got a huge one. And I'm talking about his heart. Which would have to be huge to pump blood into his giant dick. Had someone answer the door once with a snake on his shoulders. Not like a milk snake or a garter, but a ball python. Probably about 6 feet long. As he closed the door I heard him say to someone that I hadn't reacted at all. LOL, sounded so disappointed. Edit to clarify. This was almost a year ago. I am not a snake expert too, so it is quite possible I misidentified the species. Thanks to those who pointed out my mistake. Was it a rental snake? Red next to black, jump the fuck back. I heard the rhyme is black on yellow. Don't fuck with snakes. Red on black. Don't fuck with snakes. I once delivered a pizza late at night. The person who took the call told me that the person who ordered, let's call him Mark, was an old man and may take a while to get to the door. I get to the house and all the lights are off, no car in the driveway. I ring the doorbell, no answer. I knock on the door, no answer. I call the person's phone, no answer. Call again, still nothing. At this point I had waited for about 15 minutes for this person and was walking back to my car to leave when I hear the front door open, so I go back. Again, there aren't any lights on, so I can only see the head of a young woman peek from behind the door, and she refuses to open it all the way, even to take the pizza. I then hear another woman behind her saying who cares if he sees, open the door, so she opens it a little more to sign the receipt. She couldn't see, so I offer to shine my phone's flashlight so she can sign the receipt. I then realize that both of these women are naked. Me being the good employee, I was averted my eyes as she signed the receipt, and I start walking back to my car. As I was walking away, one of the women yells to me, "Have a good night, you know Mark is." And I burst into laughter as I had totally forgot that this was the house of an elderly man. I delivered a pizza to a young girl who was home alone, and when she opened the door her dog immediately ran away. I handed her the pizza, got in my car, found the dog and returned it. She left me no tip, so I was feeling kind of salty about it on the way back to the restaurant. A few hours later her mother called the store asking to speak to me. She thanked me and explained they had left tip money, but their daughter was so upset about the dog she forgot to give it to me. I worked at this pizza place for 2 more years through college, and they would get 2 large pepperoni pizzas and request me to deliver it every week after that. They always tipped me at least $25. I am so happy that the ending is happier than the beginning was making it look like it was going to be. Also good on you dude for being the man and finding her dog. This buggers can run far and hide well. A bastion of wholesomeness among overweight nudists. This comment is not mine, my father's story from back when. Was delivering for Domino's into a quite wealthy area. Knocks on the door, but of shuffling around inside. Guy opens it wearing a silk smoking jacket, woman in the background on the couch full naked. Hands my dad $100 bill for the 1 pizza order and asks if you can go grab me a gallon of milk and bring it back, keep the change. They got their milk. Glad I'm not the only one who likes that combo. Milk and naked ladies? I see you also are a man of culture. Back in college when I used to deliver pizzas, I delivered to the local county jail. An officer was taking someone to jail. The guy going to jail still with his hands cuffed behind his back got away from the officer and took off as I was walking in and ran into me. I'm pretty sure this guy was tripping on meth. The officer caught up to both of us on the ground and were able to subdue him. I was covered in pizza sauce and the officers on shift took the pizza, paid, and each gave me $20. I told my manager and we remade the order for the officers and I re-delivered the order. The police were grateful and I was given another tip. One deliver and I made about $400. I should add every time they ordered pizza from us again they always requested the guy who knew how to take a charge and would always tip me well. Good times. I thought this was going to turn into a Spider-Man type of situation where you let him get away and then he later murdered your uncle. Edit. Thanks for the silver. IDK why everyone decided to like this one specific comment of mine, but okay. So the pizza sauce he got covered in was radioactive or contained mutated ingredients that, through contact with human skin, are enough to fundamentally alter your genetic makeup and give you strange abilities. I don't mean to dox the OP, but that's enough info to tell me he worked for Pizza Hut. I was delivering a pizza to a high-rise once on a Saturday night. Got in the elevator and there was a guy dressed like a pimp who tried to buy my pizza from me that I was about to deliver. He didn't even ask what kind or what size, he just pulled out a $100 bill and said, "I buy that for $100, and I politely turned him down, so he pulled out another $100 and offered me $200. I told him I could get fired. Man, that was hard to turn down. Here's where things get totally fucked up. When I get to the door of the guy I am delivering it to, he opens the door and is dressed like a pimp also, like huge colorful jacket, and he grabs the pizza and gives me a $100 bill and shuts the door. Pizza was about $35, so a $65 tip. TLDR. Got the biggest tip of my life from a guy dressed like a pimp just seconds after turning down the biggest bribe of my life from another guy dressed like a pimp. Pimp friends were definitely testing the loyalty of their local pizza store. I think elevator pimp wanted to buy the pizza in order to pretend to be the delivery guy to the second pimp. When second pimp opens the door, pimp 1 shoots pimp 2. You saved a pimp's life with your morality. At least that's how I'd tell it to the grandkids. Edit. Thank you for the silver. Edit 2. Well, thank God. This comment has surpassed my previous top comment, which was a shitty top comment. I love the image of a fluffy jacketed gold grilled pimp, not understanding why the other pimp didn't believe he was a genuine pizza boy. I walked into a hotel room, there was a guy in a towel, a girl covered by blankets in the bed, and a handyman installing a pole. Another time, I was met by a woman who decided that wearing pants was optional. Well, technically inside your own home it is optional. I'm not wearing any pants right now. Was the handyman installing the pole under the blanket with the girl? His long, solid, hard, shiny pole. Delivered a pizza to the back door of a funeral home. Two guys in their 20s answer the door, both wearing long black rubber aprons over their shirts and ties, and long black rubber gloves. The aprons were glistening with some fluid or other. Fortunately, the guy paying took off his gloves before pulling out his wallet and paying. I was only 18 at the time, kinda freaked me out. To the point that today, 42 years later, I still remember it. Hey Steve, do you think we should wait till after the embalming to order pizza? Nah, it'll be fine. Probably just washing down the tables etc. At the end of the day, beers in the cooler and waiting for the pizza to arrive. A previous co-worker of mine delivered pizza when he was in college, and he told me that he once pulled up to a house and a group of high schoolers ran across the street with a finish line when he got there. They ordered from Pizza Hut and Domino's at the same time. I don't remember which one he worked for, but he won the race. I want to try this now. Me and a couple of friends used to do this when we were younger. Everyone had their own preferences for food, so we might order delivery from 3 to 4 different restaurants at a time. We'd let the places know there was always an extra $5 for whoever got there first. It was almost always Jimmy John's. I delivered a pizza to this house, and when I was standing on the front steps waiting for the guy to pay, I could hear all this hootin' and hollerin' from inside. The guy keeps looking back into the living room and laughing. After punching in his info, he hands the machine back to me and says, "Fuck man, you gotta see this." He steps back and I walk into the living room where there's probably 5 other dudes watching some guy fuck this 700-pound woman's folded over stomach on a massive TV. There goes my pizza delivering dream job. Turns out those documentaries on Pornhub weren't real. I was delivering to a trailer park and heard the strains of bad karaoke from the driveway. Went and knocked on the door, was greeted by a 50-something couple in their underwear who insisted I come in to set the food down and receive payment. The guy offered me a beer and asked me to stay and party. I told him I couldn't, my boss would be mad. He started doling out my tip and ones, with which he would beckon and retreat deeper into the trailer. His wife kept eyeing me and giggling. I ended at a $3 worth of tip and just left as stoically as I could, then broke down laughing maniacally in the car. I never went inside a customer's house. I claimed it was store policy I wasn't allowed to, it should have been. The reason I started doing that was rather mundane though. No orgy, just spilled tomato sauce on a white carpet. I only went into a customer's home a couple of times, it always feels really weird. I did once read the numbers on the back of a router for an old lady once who was on the phone with customer support. I'm a cab driver and I try to be as helpful as I can, since so many of us are absolute fucking assholes. But unless it's a person who really needs help, I don't enter any house or dark space away from the street. It's a good way to get ambushed and robbed or murdered. There was this house where a young couple had ordered pizza. I reached quite early and probably disturbed their sex session. The drunk dude had no idea that he had put on his girl's skirt. Not strange, but very difficult not to laugh at. That was just his kilt. Had to hide his Loch Ness monster. He tipped $3.50. Damn it monster, I don't want none of your tree fitty. Not something I've seen, but something I helped arrange for a pizza delivery guy. Worked at a pizza place in high school. One of the delivery guys was a former Army Ranger. He was a blast and loved practical jokes. Well, we had a new delivery guy start one night, and the Army Ranger called and ordered pizza. We thought it would be funny to play a joke on new guy, so we asked Army Ranger to do something funny to new guy when he shows up. New guy goes out and delivers the pizza to Army Ranger, not knowing he also worked there, and when he came back he was very quiet and looked a little disturbed. I called up Army Ranger and asked him what he did to new guy. Army Ranger answered the door wearing his girlfriend's lingerie and an army helmet, not the sight a new driver is hoping to see, I suspect. Edit. Thank you, kind strangers. When the karma is low and the upvotes are slow, I'll point to this thread as proof that I can read it. This one got a good laugh out of me. Had a customer's outside cat bring him a dead squirrel with its heart visible from its chest cavity ripped open once as I was delivering the food. That was something. Also had a couple of old gay guys try to coerce me into entering their home, which was mostly hidden from view after their front door hallway. Nope, out of that one real quick. Dude tried to say he'd tip me $10 more next time if I came inside. One of the most noteworthy customers though was this guy named David. Dude must have been over 50 and kept telling me way too much about his personal life. By the time I had finished working at that job, I knew all about his crackhead GF, now deceased, her daughter, whom he described as smoking hot, his intentions of trading sex with her for drugs, his plan to open a sex dojo where he would be the guru, and women would supposedly pay to come have sex with him. Dude always talked to me like I was his long-lost friend, so it could have been worse, but he was quite the character. Thanks to you, I've just imagined Yoda opening a sex dojo. A dude answering the door with a full-blown stiffy. Didn't expect us to deliver early, he was still busy with his wife. Answered the door at the hotel on my wedding night like that. It was the bellboy bringing our luggage up to the room. It was awkward, what do you do though? Edit. I should point out I had my tuxedo pants on and the button-up shirt. I tossed it on real quick when I heard the knock at the door. Shirts are already on coat hangers, just place them here. You get a tip, but she gets the whole thing. I needed something to hang the do not disturb sign on. Showed up to a mansion in the rich part of suburbs. The house was completely dark, so I call the number, no answer. I get out and ring the doorbell 3 times, no answer. I start banging on the door and call again with no answer. All of a sudden the door flies open and some guy in his underwear and open bathrobe, breathing all heavy and sweating, reaches out, snags the pizza, just throws money at me and shuts the door. Another time I show up, and the guy opens all excited with a big creepy smile on his face. Gestures me to come in and I say no. He won't do anything until I step inside. So I take a step in and he says to me, okay, so place the pizza on the floor right there, points to specific place, place the Pepsi there, points to a coffee table, and put my breadsticks there, points to the opposite side of where the pizza is. I just look at him and say okay. As soon as I do it he says, okay, your money is on the floor by the door. Have an amazing day. Thank you very much. So I walked out backwards, not taking my eyes off him, grab my money and leave. Weird fucking people out there, man. Delivered pizza for 2 years. The strangest thing was a woman ordering right next door, €2 extra for delivery. When she opened the door she was almost naked, wearing only a bra, had huge fake breasts and lip fillers, platinum long hair. Your textbook bimbo. The order was €18 and was already paid online. I told her it was already paid, however the lady took €20 out of her bra and handed them over to me, winked and said, keep the change. Needless to say, it made my day. Edit. Fixed an error. Well, that's a big deliver. Happy cake day. Happy wishing someone else a happy cake day.
Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Tell me what you dislike or love about this video, so please comment below and hit the bell icon so you're notified anytime a new video is released. This is a WeCrow Media production.